Let me ask you one last question, Frankie. I'd be interested to see your viewpoint on this.
Yeah,
Obviously, there's, right now, a lot of, the business is changing, as we know, the in-ring product, the way it's presented, the way that I think it's expanded more into an art form. And we have the old timers, well, wrestling isn't what it used to be. And it isn't,
No.
and this is a new form. But let me see if you see things the way I do. You see it differently because you're back there with the guys that are kind of changing the parameters, the Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks, all those guys, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that now, like before, like from your era, my era, that wrestling was more wrestling, tough guys, and real wrestling, and now it's almost become almost like an art form, and out of it you can get the comedy of a Joey Ryan, you can get the you have hardcore wrestling, it's more like an art. It's almost like comic book meets athleticism more than real tough wrestling like before.
I mean, that's hard to argue with. I agree with that, and like 20 years in, I kind of got that, 1 foot in the old school, 1 foot in the new, because I'm still in there having matches with guys like the Young Bucks and,
right.
People like Cody and people like Marty and having matches that a lot of people will criticize because of lack of selling, which is not necessarily true, or too much or too many high spots and stuff like that. And look, I get it. Like I grew up, like we've talked a lot, Conan, on 1980s WWF, which I loved, and that's my favorite era of wrestling. And I love the simplicity of the storytelling and how well it worked. But if you look at any other sport, baseball, football, basketball, every sport has evolved.
Or form of entertainment.
Right, absolutely. Movies, television, everything.
Right.
The way media.
Right. Look at the first Superman compared to Superman now. You know what I'm saying? On movies.
Absolutely. So, things have to change. And I mean, do I like a lot of the stuff that goes on nowadays? Not necessarily. Am I impressed by the quality and the athleticism of a lot of these matches and a lot of the things that these guys are doing? Absolutely.
Frankie, real quick, what don't you like?
You're
not going to say names. You're just going to say what you don't like.
Well, yeah, no, not to sound like. Here's one thing. And this goes beyond wrestling. I hate the fact that wrestlers are now created by guys that really never did anything in the business. Like in our day, finding a wrestling school and seeking it out was real difficult. It was real protected, and usually guys that did something in the business had a school and trained guys. You're now having guys that are being trained by guys that have been in the indies for a couple years and are immediately coming in and with all types of bad habits and just kind of.
I agree with that, bro. 1,000%. That's a pet peeve of mine. Yeah,
that I don't like. And a lot of the guys, I appreciate the risks that are taken. I really do. But at the level where these guys are taking these risks and they're probably not making a lot of money and not making enough to pay for, the ensuing hospitalization or what's going to happen to them. Like, I think the bar has been raised that guys think that they have to do this in order to get somewhere instead of focusing on what do I need to do to develop a character.
That's
what
one of Disco's big peeves, right? Disco?
Yeah, stuff like that.
I've got 3 pet peeves, like 3 major pet peeves. Okay. Number one, the fact that hardly any guys throw punches anymore. Everybody's gravitating towards forearms. Okay, I don't. This my personal opinion. I don't like. I don't like the fact that the guys don't hide the dives enough. Where you're diving a guy on the floor and he's standing there looking at you for 30 seconds, and you kind of jump on him. He doesn't try to move out of the way.
Understandable.
I think the guys, if the guys like the like hiding the work part, you know what I'm saying? Like make it look like it's an organic move instead of just scripted choreographed and guy does a dive. And I don't like the way the fans react. I like those old school, like the chanting, the constant chanting and cheering. I still love, bro. You were there. Remember how electric that the Asylum crowd was sometimes? A good old fashioned Southern crowd that they booed the heels, they cheered the babyface, they got into it, Bro, you don't really hear that type of response anymore from the fans, and I think it detracts from a lot of matches that we don't have, that we just have the chance. You know what I'm saying?
I'll agree with that. the real stupid chants, like the ones that like just have nothing to do with anything going on, and it's like what is the mindset? Like, do the fans go home and go like, hey, did you hear that chant? I was part of that. Like it's
right.
Like when they go into business for themselves.
Exactly.
That's
exactly.
That, and here's one more thing, and this is just again me having one foot in the old school. So many guys nowadays just are not, for lack of better words, aesthetically in shape. Like when I was coming up, like if you even wanted to remotely get looked at, you had to be like jacked and tan. Like that's just how it was. And
Can I just say something real quick?
Yeah.
I would like to say that you have one of the most delicious tans I've ever seen, and I would like to throw into that category Mark Marrow, EC3, and Jimmy Jacobs. Okay, just so
they got great ones. Yeah, we Cody Rhodes and I joke. We always the goal is to get 96 Hogan dark. That's how dark we want to get.
Well, that's kind of orange. That's dark. You still have a nice.
Awesome,
wait a minute.
I'm tanorexic. I tell everyone I'm tanorexic. But my point being is that you don't have to. Again, you don't have to look like you don't have to be right. Look like an athlete. Just look like an athlete at least. Right. I mean, that's work on yourself a little bit.
Yeah. Plus, too, I'll tell you this. Back in 2008 in TNA, I've always stayed in decent shape. I had put on a couple pounds, so I didn't look bad. But you could tell it's like in the belly I'd put on a few pounds, right? Bro, the fans got on me.
Oh yeah.
Like they were like, and I was just like a few pounds overweight. So like it's kind of like it's weird how the look, like the fans have kind of given a pass to wrestlers when they don't look good. It's like it's not even like it's like it's not even fair to criticize them for it,
Right. And think about this: you're still an in shape guy, and you got these beer belly guys, talking about your belly, which is ironic,
Right.
So, yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
I thought I got cut out for a second. I'm sorry.